Welcome to Video Game Movie Anatomy. Tonight, we're covering 2008's Max Payne starring Mark Wahlberg. We're going to have all of our games that we do every single episode, so stay tuned.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's Video Game Movie Anatomy.
That's right, everybody. Welcome to Video Game Movie Anatomy. I am one of your hosts, and it's Mark B. Donica, and tonight the B stands for Bullet Time, because we're covering... I did that just now. I didn't even think about it.
I was wondering. Yeah. I've been wondering what the B was for.
And tonight we're covering Max Payne, starring Mark Wahlberg. Joining me, we have a full panel tonight. We have Mrs. Stacey Shuttleworth.
Hi guys, I'm Stacey Shuttleworth. You can find me online at Ye Old Nerd on Twitter, or on Twitter and all over the internet at Nerds Doing Stuff.
And Mr. Patrick Dees.
Hello, you can find me at P to the D's on Twitter, and you can find me on iTunes. I host a video game podcast called Pixel by Pixel. I'm excited to talk Max Payne with you.
You're excited to poo-poo all over this movie.
Well, I don't know. I might be the apologist this week. We'll get into it.
This movie surprised me.
I'm just saying.
This movie surprised me. So, yeah, it did. It really did.
All right.
So, for those of you who don't know about Max Payne, this was a game that came out for the original Xbox in PlayStation 2. The breakdown of the film is as follows. Coming together to solve a series of murders in New York City are a police detective whose family was slain as a part of a conspiracy and an assassin out to avenge her sister's death. The duo will be hunted by the police, the mob, and a ruthless corporation. Max Payne.
When Mark Bullet Time Donica sets that movie up, I want to watch it.
It sounds great
Right,
that way.
doesn't it? I'm telling you.
That sells it. I'm in.
Mr. Bullet Time.
So, initial thoughts.
About the movie?
About the movie.
Okay,
No, not about my middle
your
name.
nickname about Bullet Time.
No.
Look, again, I'll set up my my apologist position here. Like, so I'm a big fan of the source material, right? Like, I thought that game was kind of I'm not a sea change in gaming, but I think an important game, like a real tentpole game around the time that it came out, right? Kind of pioneered that whole bullet time, right? That was pre-Matrix. That was
It was just after
Right.
Matrix.
Just
it was
after
the first
Matrix.
game to utilize it after the Matrix.
kind of in development, maybe in parallel with, right? I'm like, see, the apology already begins.
going.
That's a good
There.
save. That's a good save.
So like, I kind of went into this, and I had seen it at the time, and remember being profoundly disappointed. I think this was my suggestion. One of the reasons we're talking about it is because I'm a big Remedy guy. This was released by Remedy early on. They've got a game coming out this coming 2 weeks.
Very soon.
Short, called Quantum Break. I was excited to start revisiting kind of old Remedy properties. So part of my apologistic stance for this movie is going to be because I love the source material, but like, it wasn't good. There's things I liked about it. It was watchable, which is way better than how I usually get on the show. Like every week I get
It
here
was
and I'm
very
like,
watchable.
I'd scratch the very.
Well, here's the
it was watchable
compared to a lot of the other movies that we've done on this show. It was an actual movie.
Yeah.
and it
Sure.
It had its moments, it had its beats to make it sort of resemble a movie. But once we get into our speed runs, I think we'll be able to isolate a little bit more what we had problems with the film. How about you, Stacey?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it was watchable, but barely
I
to
agree.
me. It was tough, and there were a few things that I had major issues with.
I can't wait
that
to hear
really
them.
ruined
Me
it.
too.
Did you play the game at all? Were you familiar with kind of the
I
source
did.
material?
I am familiar to an extent. It's been a while since
Yep.
I played the game,
Yep.
and it was only the first one, but I have, so I know where it's coming from.
Yeah, I only
at the very
played
least.
1 and 3. I didn't play the Fall of Max Payne, which isn't that considered the best one?
Is it?
Which I feel bad
I
about.
kind of really liked the third one, the one that was 2 years ago.
Yeah, the Rockstar.
The Rockstar, great game.
Oh, yeah, very cool.
Yep.
Utilizing drugs for the slow motion and stuff. Yeah. I just remembered another controller toss moment. Sorry. But before we get to controller toss moments, let's go to our speed runs. And our speed runs is sort of like when you go into a GameStop, a Walmart, a Target, what have you. You look at a game, you look on the back, and there's a little blurb on the back.
Yeah.
These are that for us for the film. And just an example of a couple. It's a pretty definitive statement.
Yeah.
We like to keep it short, Patrick.
Sometimes I have a problem with that.
So, for example, Mortal Kombat has a cheesy script but nails the spirit of the game. Need for Speed is the kind of mindless action movie that doesn't make you feel bad for people who are mindless. So just as a couple examples. But for Max Payne, who wants to go first?
I got it.
Let's do it.
All right, I'm going
Alright,
to try and stay brief.
take it.
This is my prepared statement. All right, so Max Payne is the sad and impotent action thriller adaptation of the groundbreaking video game series by Remedy Entertainment. Some okay ideas at play here, but ultimately the script is a mess. While watching this film, it won't cause you Max Payne, but will probably have you wincing repeatedly.
That was good.
Thank
That
you.
was solid.
Thank
I
you.
was wondering who was going to do a Max Payne pun.
I could not.
Did you do a Max Payne pun?
You know what? I didn't.
We'll recover from it. Recover from it. Let's see what you
took
got.
care of it. All right. So, if you're a fan of Max Payne games, you're going to be disappointed. If you've never played a single Max Payne game, you're still going to be disappointed. The movie manages two things spectacularly well: blatantly ignoring the source material and butchering Norse mythology.
Okay,
Interesting.
so yeah, I can't wait to get into this.
Interesting.
All right.
Because So mine, despite a main character as convincing as the snow effects throughout, Max Payne stays surprisingly loyal to a fault.
Yeah.
I thought that it stuck to the source material relatively
I did
well.
too.
Really?
Yeah. There's a lot of the terminology and a lot of the characters are sort of tightened up, but I think a lot of the beats stay true.
Sure.
And we'll get more into that in a second. But we go from there to our controller toss moment, which is a moment where you're watching the movie and you have got to be kidding me, and you wing your controller across the room, which wasn't as much of a problem back in the PS2 Xbox days because they were wired. Didn't have too far to go.
Couldn't get some velocity on that thing.
Not
yeah.
like a Wii remote that gets embedded into your television. I'll start with mine. I kind of said it in the speed run, but the snow. The second we started seeing the snow, I thought there was a guy just above frame with like a pie pan, just shaking little crumples of
That's what
paper
it looked
down,
like.
and it constantly took me out. And like the close up in the last shot of Max
gun?
with the gun, I was like, that's confetti. That is 100% confetti.
And it wasn't there like in the previous shot. Like he pulls the gun,
He
it's not,
just
and then
came
it's just.
outside,
I know.
And all of a sudden,
Yeah.
covered
It's
in
been there
frost.
since the Eisenhower administration.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
that gun's been there a long
There all
time.
day.
I got another one, but let's keep moving. Stacey, what do you have for
All
a
right,
controller
well-
toss moment?
It goes back to the Norse mythology
Okay.
thing
Oh,
when it
yeah.
really started.
Excellent.
So it was when Owen Green was having his like freak out, his hallucinations up
yeah.
on the second floor, about to throw himself out the window / get pulled out of
Sure.
the window. And he's explaining how like the Valkyrie are the ones that come and swoop in and take the chosen away to Valhalla. It's like so.
I just thought of another one.
Just there's so many.
Just this
There's
suspension
like,
of disbelief.
how do you choose
oh,
one?
I know. I was like, okay, so they're taking these drugs and expecting these Norse mythological creatures who honor valiant fighters to take them away.
Yep.
And it would be one thing if that was like the running delusion that the junkies had kind of thing, but
Sure.
they treated it so seriously. So when we hit that point, I was just like, okay, nope, we're done.
That was, and you never really recovered from that
I
moment.
didn't
You're like,
recover
I'm
from that
sorry.
moment.
You're
I was,
sitting
like,
back
that's
with your
enough.
arms crossed. You're like, I'm not watching this anymore.
Well, and then they go talk to the tattoo artist, and it just goes
That was
downhill
the
from
tattoo
there.
artist who's just like, by the way, I've got my Norse mythology
No.
book
No,
here.
and it looked like the Necronomicon, right? Like it was like that book was yes.
It's like, oh,
Yes.
I have luckily been looking over my Norse tome.
But tell me
Thinking
that
of new
guy.
ideas.
Tell me that guy did not. He was so well cast. That dude is like in every tattoo
yeah.
shop I've ever seen forever.
Book and all.
No, yeah, but I'm booking. I mean, maybe not.
But yeah,
I'm
that-
just not asking the right
Obscure
questions.
That was another one. Like during the film, as that scene was happening at the tattoo parlor, I was like, this is a needed scene for our main characters.
Yeah.
But what is that guy doing with that book there? And it happens like I know tattoo artists, they take pictures of their work
Right,
afterward.
right.
But how is it like that exact
Found
one
it.
Totally.
right there?
I know.
Nailed it.
I know.
Don't understand. I mean, I do understand. I don't want to understand. What about you, Patrick? What's one of yours?
Can I have like a controller toss like movie? Like, it would be this. Look, one of the defining gameplay mechanics of the game is bullet time. It's something that translates very well to film, right? Like we've always seen it. The director, and I'm spacing his name, had done
John Moore.
had done spacing the movie, the Owen Wilson movie,
Behind
Enemy Lines. Thank you. I'm just gonna throw to you, and you
I
just
do what I can.
ad lib away. He'd done Behind Enemy Lines, where I think they had like some really convincing slow mo scenes. I feel like maybe that got him this gig, and then they then had a movie with like 42 gunfights and like 3 slow mo moments, one of which is impossibly dumb. And
I think you're talking
totally
about Which one?
is the behind the back shotgun. What are we doing?
And not
that's
just-
when you choose to use bullet time.
And not just he
Yeah.
makes the shot, but the guy flies off of the catwalk.
Oh,
Oh,
totally.
the whole thing explodes.
And
The whole thing goes
explodes
up.
at the wall behind
Dude,
him.
like, but that maneuver,
Gun
like he
physics.
jumps backwards and just
No.
no looks. Like I don't like.
You no-scope a shotgun? I didn't know you could do that.
And the movie, like, is just so ripe for that, right? Like that whole. Do you remember the office scene when he's running through? Like, how is that not bullet time? That would have been rad seeing the papers explode.
Though I will say, another one of mine is the end of that when he dives through the window like head first,
Yes.
and he's just like full force.
Yep.
That's a video game. Like that's you in the video game where you're just diving
Yeah, we're
everywhere.
diving,
Yes.
totally.
That's totally that moment, and for that reason, I was like, okay, that would be one where I'm wearing the Wii remote thing and I throw it, but it stays like.
Oh
on my
yeah,
arm.
you've got the little safety
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
And you're
yeah.
like,
I'd be
"Whew."
like, that wasn't that bad, but it was still just
no.
like, please.
Except the way they recover though. Like I also kind of love it. Like if you're gonna do this, let's dive. Like
Let's go.
balls out. Excuse that term. But he jumps in midair, like into the door, and then kind of recovers. Like Luda's on the other side, and he's still standing upright. I'm like, no, you just ate shit. Like you don't just recover from that.
Like that's
It was
a
it was
concussion because your
problematic for me.
head went into the ground.
But
No, it's
like A for effort, Max. Like, good job. Keep it up.
That should have been your speed run. A for effort, Max.
There you
But,
go. Sums it
Can't
up.
dog you for trying, and yet here we go, 15
Yeah.
minutes of
Gonna
dogging
do it
you.
Oh
anyways.
yeah, no, we're just getting warmed up.
Another one of mine was the payoff of the intro scene where he's sinking in the ice.
Yes.
Ice, water. And when he sees his wife and he hears the, not yet, and then goes back up, like, he had already been down there and not breathing in the freezing cold
Right.
Hudson River. And he's like,
Right.
no, I'm good.
Hold on.
Yeah, I know, I got it. And still swam. It looked, I don't know, he got a little bit discombobulated, but he could have swam. It seemed like they were trying to establish that he swam across the river.
Yeah, it looked like it. Sure looked like it.
opposed to
And
back.
As opposed to
Yeah.
back.
That's
But then the drugs made it all better.
I can
As
appreciate
they do.
fine.
I can appreciate that our man, Mr. Jack Lupino, is always sweating profusely. This drug is got to be some sort of thermogenic. Like,
was
I get
on
it.
fire.
He's just
Yeah,
sweating. And so, but
everywhere.
I love that Max's go-to is like, I almost drowned. Screw it. Let's use some drugs.
Let's try some drugs.
Let's try some drugs.
But I do. That kind of rings true to the character. Where if we did have a sequel like they teased after the
Yeah,
credits,
yeah,
then it would have
yeah.
been like, oh, he's probably a junkie trying to find that same high that he found that kept him alive. So that would have been an interesting way to incorporate a story that they did in the games and et cetera, et cetera. But they didn't do that. So speaking of our cast, let's do some highlights here. I loved Beau Bridges as cast as BB because he's BB as well. Beau Bridges, BB, like super silly, just meta thing that I like.
Thank you for connecting those dots.
But it's great to have a guy
Staring at it right here.
who usually plays somebody who's so likable
Yeah.
to be that turncoat, even though you could see it a mile away.
Oh yeah.
What other highlights did you guys have of the cast? So we had Mark Wahlberg as Max Payne, Mila Kunis as Mona Sax, Ludacris as Jim Bravura, Chris O'Donnell as Jason Colvin, Donald Logue as Alex Balder, Amari Nolasco as Jack Lupino, Kate Burton as Nicole Horn, and Olga Kurylenko, our girl from Hitman,
Our
as
girl.
Natasha.
Yep.
Yeah.
Who did you guys like the most?
Dude, so I actually really had a hard time with BB. Like, honestly, I like him a little bit more now that you pointed that out, because, like, my dumb brain just really wanted to hit him. But, like, it was, all of that was such a miss. Like, I think he should be like Wilford Brimley doing oatmeal commercials. He's not this, like, head of security guy. I don't know. That whole thing was just so weird.
The head of security thing kind of threw me.
Right?
Off,
They
too.
didn't
That
spend-
didn't seem to fit.
No,
But
he's
they didn't spend enough time on it.
No.
No, and he's doughy, right? Like, he doesn't seem like a guy that could, like, be this fierce, like, head of a security organization or even a former cop. Like, I feel like
Right.
any
That
one of
was,
us
like,
could have
stretch.
taken BB. Like, I don't think that guy's a problem. How did you guys feel about Wahlberg? As Max.
I did not like him.
You did not.
I did not. I think
Okay.
if we didn't have Wahlberg, it could have been a completely different movie.
Really?
Yeah.
You think he was sandbagging this?
I do.
Sandbagging is the wrong word, but you think like he was the problem?
Even for the script too, but I think the director did a wonderful job lining up certain shots, certain scenes, certain situations. I think he did the best what he could
Yep.
with a bad situation, and ultimately, I did enjoy the movie. I thought there were a couple moments that were all right. Come on, like when the drug.
couple?
Yeah. When the couple. Let me get to him.
Thank you.
When I think the druggie at the top of the movie in the subway was starting to see the Valkyrie circle around.
Yes.
It looked like I saw somebody with a kite Like it looked just like
really
like
bad.
something you would pick up, and they were just like, well, let's do practical. And we'll do the
It'll
CG
look
later.
fine.
And they didn't do it. So that was that. I think seeing that so early made me go, well, I'm ready for anything.
Yeah,
But
I can see how that would set the tone. You're like, all right.
okay, here we are.
Yeah,
All
failure.
right.
Somebody with wind chimes
Video
is
games.
terrorizing the city.
Do you know? I feel like that's that one moment in
Terrible.
video games where, like, you know, like when you ever seen like in a game where you see a texture that was never really supposed to be visible, you somehow finagle your way into the geometry in a level where like that's not texture. There's no way like it should be visible. I feel like it's that same thing. It's just true to video games, right? Like you looked in an area that wasn't supposed to be looked at, and you know it looks like garbage.
I
On the
downloaded
end of the room.
I downloaded Borderlands over the weekend because Games with Gold.
Yes.
And I walked right up to a mountain. And I went, "This is on Xbox 360. This looks terrible."
Yeah.
Like literally right up to a mountain. The text was just like, "What am I looking
Right.
at? What am I looking?" Somebody just scanned their leather pants and whatever. It's fine. It was really
Nobody's
weird.
gonna look at this mountain.
But yeah, Wahlberg didn't do it for me. He was in serious mode the entire time, and
but so is Max. Max's face, due to like
that's the
limitations
thing.
at that point, is in a perma scowl, right? Like
That's
this
the
is
thing
not
Mark
current
Wahlberg
gen.
can't scowl. He just goes to nothing face.
I disagree. I think, man, that guy was like a JPEG on a flat surface.
Yeah, a
of just
broken
like
JPEG.
A broken, like, frowny JPEG. And he's like, I'm really happy right now, Mark.
No, he went to. I'm glad you feel that way.
Yep.
I don't. And the moment
So diplomatic
Disagree
today.
the
here.
moment
I
in
know.
question is when he walks in and sees the murder. He goes from his family murdered, and he goes from the happy face to the serious, what you're calling the serious face.
Well,
and it's
Allegedly.
like it's instantly. It went from like sunshine and lollipops
Sure.
to instant Linkin Park.
Perfect.
And just that was it for just like crawling, and he's. My child is dead. My wife is dead. I'm going to be serious for the entire rest of the film. And I didn't think his reads were that great. I think this was more like, yeah, I'll do that movie. Sure, sounds like fun. Instead of
So, like, here's the thing, though. I was thinking about that. I think about this a lot when we do these movies because, like, I think when you think, like, I feel badly sometimes because I think Wahlberg, for what it's worth, like, he's a role player or whatever, but I think there's a reason he's been so successful and he's had staying power in Hollywood. Like, I think he's very competent if you find the right role and the right script for him, right? So I feel like, dude, even as Mr. Bullet Time read us that description, it, like, I was giving you like shit, but like it legitimately sounded like that could be interesting given the right, you know, the right DP, the right script. Like that could be kind of cool. And I feel like Mark read this maybe, or people around him, his turtle, and was like, yeah, you should do that. And it's like, yeah, it sounds all right. And then you know,
Got thrown into
maybe
that.
had no idea.
I think that's all right is the attitude that he went into the movie doing.
It's a payday?
So
Yes.
that's about
Okay.
as much as he did.
Fair enough.
And I don't think he did a bad job,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
I don't think he could have. He didn't play with it enough
Yep.
to find. I can't believe I'm using this word with this movie.
No, do it.
The
Do it.
pathos.
There it is.
In the Max Payne character, who is such a tragic figure.
But kind of two-dimensional, right? And I think that's a function of the time. Like, and I said that, right? That was definitely a game like of the moment, right? Like Max Payne wouldn't fly today in its current form. Like even the Rockstar adaptation recently did all kinds of stuff with Max, right? Like he's lived a real hard life. But at the time, like he was pretty two-dimensional. He was angry and very hurt,
Right.
and he shot a lot of fools in the face. And
did.
like, you know, I don't know, Marky Mark did that all right.
Yeah. All right. I believe it. What about you, Stacey? Did you have any highlights in the cast?
I mean, aside from Beau Bridges, who I actually enjoyed,
You did?
despite not fitting
Okay.
where he was, I thought his performance was solid, at the very least.
Okay.
He
For
felt
the
like
most part.
the sympathetic
Right.
like friend of the dad that you see in these cop procedurals.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
felt like the innocent guy. He's like, oh, at least somebody cares about him.
Yeah, it wasn't his fault he was stuck into, like, a position that really didn't fit his
But
character.
I think a lot of this movie is people doing what they can with what they're given.
That was how I felt through a lot of it, and I actually didn't think Ludacris was that bad.
No, Ludacris was
I
great. He's a
actually
good actor.
really enjoyed.
I think
his
Luda's an
performance.
incredibly
It was-
talented guy. Like,
it
yeah,
was
I mean,
good.
that guy is great. I like Chris O'Donnell was another big miss for me. I don't know. Have you guys?
Me too.
Not a.
It was
I
flat.
couldn't unsee Robin. I was just like, I don't believe a guy who does NCIS, a guy who traditionally does action stuff, is a patsy role.
But I don't
think it was
yeah,
just miscast.
I think that too, and also like, why are you here? Like that could have been anybody, right? Like anybody
Right.
could have filled that role. And I know maybe this. I don't know, man. We're not the heads of these people who are making this movie. But maybe they needed to start attaching names, but like that was weird. It was a weird use of Chris
was odd.
O'Donnell.
Does Chris O'Donnell's name have value in 2008? Is that somebody where we went, it's 2008, damn it, we need Chris O'Donnell?
Like I wasn't gonna see. I was on the
Just
fence, but you throw out, Chrissy D, and I'm like, let's do this.
What?
Yeah.
We can
I'm
get
in.
Chris O'Donnell?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Super
Done.
in. So we've been talking a little bit about the plot, quote unquote the plot. And essentially, in so many words, Max is still searching for the one remaining gunman. To know how he figured out it was 3 people instead of the 2 that he already killed, that's beside the point.
Sure.
But he's trying to find the answers to his wife and baby's murder, and along the way ends up getting embroiled with this assassin played by Mila Kunis, and discovers this just entire world of drugs and super soldier serums and all sorts of crap that Max really needs to try to save the day, but he doesn't care about himself. Max really wants to die,
A little bit.
he just wants to get his answer first.
Sure.
Right.
For the way that they truncated an hours-long game into an hour and a half, how do you think it translated?
So I want to hear, actually, if I could ask you, why do you think, where do you felt like it deviated from source material specifically? Because I think Mark and I are on the same page there. I'm curious to see, per Mark's question,
So
what
Mark
was
brought up,
off?
It hit kind of the same beats, and that I do agree with. It did hit a lot of the same beats, but I thought they had a lot of divergence, like characteristics and characters themselves. Just,
Well,
I
sure.
mean, and I know they had to cut it down a lot, but they did it in a very interesting way to me. That
They did a
changed
lot
it a
less. The
lot.
fact that they didn't have Nicole Horne really as a major player in the movie, except for just like she kind of looks like a bitch. Like
Right.
aside from
Yeah,
that,
throw
you
her in
really
there.
only know that in the post-credit scenes.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the only way you figure out. Oh, she's the one that we have to get.
Yep.
Why? And we're living in a time of, if we can make a franchise out of this, cool. You finish the movie. Just do.
Right.
Give me an
Right.
extra half an hour where they go after Horn and it's just a single thing, but.
yeah, that
Look,
payoff
but,
missing
like,
was big.
I feel like we cover this ground a lot. Like, I actually am on the side of like let movies not be beholden to their source material, right? Like, this IP is not strong to begin with. Like, why? So like, I usually like I'm here going like, hey, distance yourself from it. Use the premise. Write a good story. I think they actually did. This felt like, and I know that's weirdly a nebulous term. It felt like Max Payne, like that subway scene at the very beginning. That was straight out of a Max Payne level.
Even the like earlier in the week text that appeared on the
Totally.
poster.
That was great.
The use
Totally.
of red for every shot, every hit.
I agree.
But
The
they didn't
palette
keep
as a
that up through the whole
whole.
thing.
No, I
They-
think they do,
they
right?
sh-
The palette felt Max Payne-y to me.
Okay, but and I noticed that the flashes of red when he was getting beat on early on in the movie, they didn't carry that through.
They didn't do
very
it too much. Like they didn't put. They focused.
And I thought that was really cool until they didn't carry through with it, and then it just felt totally.
And not on
out of
him,
place.
but maybe in the world too. Like you'd see different splashes of red other places. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe just red as a theme.
But that it was a very particular red flash when he got hit. I mean, that was a very
Yeah,
particular
yeah.
It
device
felt like
that they
you got
used.
hit in the game
Yes.
and your health was starting to.
When Max,
that was cool.
Oh
In
yeah,
his
yeah, yeah.
apartment.
Totally.
And
I couldn't. That felt very much like Max Payne. I
Yes.
totally agree. Even to that fade to black, like as it blinks out. Totally.
But they didn't carry through with it.
Yep.
It just disappeared after that, and so that was disappointing.
I definitely, yeah. So in terms of similarities to the game, they actually got a lot right. Or they did a lot to kind of rhyme them. The whole game, for some, I don't know. I still don't know why they decided on Norse mythology to go off for the game.
It's weird.
But
it feels like a sequel,
I've
right?
got all of
Yeah.
the references from the game that they used in the
you do?
in the movie. I do. So the Aesir Corporation, the source of the Valkyr drug, is named after the entire pantheon of Norse gods, Aesir.
Gotcha.
So that, okay, cool, then that's where all the stuff comes from. Nicole Horne. Horne is an allusion to the Galahorn, which we know from in Destiny, but
Clearly.
the Galahorn is what sounds the arrival of Ragnarok, which is the end of the world. We had the Ragnarok Club.
That was a fun little reference.
Which
That
was,
was fun.
which was interesting, and it wasn't named Ragnarok. Like letters were like blurred out or like not lit.
They were,
Yeah.
they
Yeah,
were.
that was great.
I like that. I like that a lot.
that was
and
fun.
the snowstorm, the entire snowstorm, was a reference to Fimbulvetir, which was
Oh, of
an
course.
epic winter
I mean, of
that
course.
precedes Ragnarok. So that whole thing and the use of the use of the Valkyries just for the game was like, this is cop drama, and now we're deep in Norse mythology.
It feels like a third in a series, right? Like, I feel like if they had stuck with just... I mean, Max is inept. He's like literally the worst cop. But if they could have just stuck with solving his wife and kid's murder, stay simple, stay focused on that. No, don't go this crazy. Like, this feels like, well, damn, we're out of ideas. Let's mix up some Norse, like, gods. You know what I mean?
New.
Right?
Mm-hmm. It's like in Uncharted, where you've got a really good character plot, and I really love the Uncharted games, but just as an example, you've got a really awesome, personable plot between this guy and who you think is his dad, and maybe he's falling in love, and then all of a sudden vampires show up. So essentially, a supernatural element gets introduced in the third act, and in that regard, it kind of stays true to that idea of, well, it's the third act, let's punch it up, let's give it a silly reason. Yeah. But despite all that, I don't know if it did any of the Valkyrie stuff and the Valkyries flying around hit with you guys for this? Stacey's making a no face.
I feel her no face.
No. Right? And I mean, even the stuff that they brought over straight from the game, it felt like it was a little more cohesive in the game, and maybe it's just because it's been so long. Yeah, it worked in the game in a way that all of these Norse references did not work in the movie. Mm-hmm. And
it like this felt shoehorned in, Gallahorned in, because there was just no time. It was just for you to go, this is what it is, accept it, move on.
Yep. Yes, and not only that, but it also felt like the people who were putting together this script kind of looked at it and was like, oh, well, they did this Norse thing in the games. I don't know anything about Norse mythology, but let's chuck it in there.
Let's make it work.
They just got it all wrong anyway.
What if the Ragnarok Club? What if it's not actually called the Ragnarok Club, and we just like black out the letters, and that's pretty good.
Oh, I like what you write that down. Write that down, Mark. Write that down. Get on that. That is going in right now.
Nailed it. Yep. So, yeah, it's weird.
It didn't work for me. It didn't work for me either. And I feel like, and maybe this is a stretch, and it's super cliche, right? Losing wife and kid. I mean, that's tragic. But I feel like if they'd have just focused, right? Because that, in and of itself, there's a lot of material there for, like, to build a relationship with Max and really explore what he's dealing with. And especially if they had, like, delusions of grandeur, like, we want to like a franchise out of this. Obviously, they were hoping for a sequel. Let's really establish Max. And they're like, nah, he's a guy who, like, lost his wife and kids. And
I agree.
One-track mind. That's all it needs.
Spend the time on your main character.
Totally.
I mean, we had, like, in the first game, there's all of those flashbacks, which coincide with what you're doing in the main plot.
Terrifying.
In present. Yeah. Why not just do the flashbacks as the first movie? Or we have, what if we do like a Tarantino, which they kind of did in the movie, and start in a bad situation in the present, and the whole second half of the first act and second act are a flashback, and you come back to the resolution in the third.
Totally. And I think, or even like that Rockstar game in Max Payne 3, what if they just started with Max being a mess? Like maybe this didn't, like 10 years later, and he's like, he's lived a life where he's never actually moved on, right? He's stuck in, and that's an interesting story, because we all know that person who, like, is never able to leave that spiral of guilt and self-loathing, and like never able to get over that loss.
Never to accept it.
Totally, and you just can't turn that page. That to me would be really interesting, and then revisiting that and maybe getting some catharsis, because that's a guy I can root for. Not this crazy inept cop who Forrest Gumps his way through a plot, who eventually has to have it explained to him by the idiot Chris O'Donnell, who's like, no dummy, this is what's happening. Yeah. Okay, I'll go shoot some more people. Like, what?
Yeah, I'm gonna punch you until you tell me words I understand.
Totally.
Well, and that happened throughout the entire movie. It was just
Mark
people
Wahlberg's
telling him things. Yeah, just people telling him what was going on. He didn't figure out any of it.
And I think that's part of the reason why it's for for video games. Most of the reasons why they pick even though Max wasn't silent, even though most of the times when they pick a silent protagonist is because they want you to empathize with that character and identify as that character. And I think they inadvertently did that with Max, where he doesn't have a lot of dialogue. Like, in trying to write down favorite lines for what we're doing later in the movie, I was just like, he didn't say a lot.
No, but like, and also what he does say is not that clever. I don't know if you guys remember that film noir. Like the dialogue in Max Payne is the best part, right? It just drips to the point where it's like so campy, but like so well written, right? That like, and I wish I'd had like I came in prepared with some of those quotes, but like it's not that. It's just like dumbed down. Like, I believe in angels.
I don't believe in heaven, but I believe in angels.
I believe in angels.
I don't believe in death. I don't believe in really, really silly.
It was a miss.
It was a little bit of a miss. Even though we'll get to what its budget and what it made at the box office, but I wanted to bring up something interesting about the near the finale, we have the scene where the whole building rips open and you see the world of the Valkyries, the hallucinatory world of the Valkyries, where the cop that walks by is just like, what? He's tripping out. Should I shoot him? Is he dying already?
Right?
But I think something fun that they did for that is they actually held a contest for that hallucination. So they contacted a whole bunch of visual effects teams and were like, hey, here's blank footage of a stand-in. This is how we want the shot to look. Go. And they picked the best one. And it was a Canadian company called Spin that ended up winning it. But I thought it was like cool to make it like a game within a video game movie.
Yeah.
And it didn't look bad. It was as that was happening, I was doing the same thing as Max. I was just like, whoa!
Yeah.
It's like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Just like, get out.
But I was with you too. Like I was like, shoot him. Like that Max should have been dead on the spot. Like that guy walked in. He's like, do I shoot this guy? Like, what do you?
You're right over there.
Yeah. He's like, this guy's got problems way bigger than my AK-47.
But at
I'm just gonna let him.
The entire time we've been watching Max react to the dudes freaking out on the drugs, he's doing the same thing. Where he's just like, let's see where this goes, sort of a thing. Even though he's needed information as opposed to having to be shot on sight. I just thought that was pretty cool, and that effect wasn't that bad.
No, it was cool. No, the effect
really
was
well
great.
done. And then just a little bit on our boy John Moore. He went on to, after this movie, direct A Good Day to Die Hard.
I know he did, which
is
I really
awesome.
like. I really like that movie.
Yeah. Here's a lot of his, what did they say? So Armand White, a film critic, described Moore as a Peckinpah-esque neo-Einstein stylist whose grade B material, such as Behind Enemy Lines, Flight of the Phoenix, the remake of The Omen, has kept him from receiving the acclaim he deserves. And this is a little bit into our critical part, but the same guy reviewed Max Payne, saying Moore explores genuine contemporary anxiety, and that his images are richer than his plots.
I completely agree.
that's
What do
the
you
writing.
remember from Behind Enemy Lines? Just the visuals,
visuals,
right? Totally.
yeah.
And the same thing with Max. I thought the palette in this movie was rad. And I feel like that's what, there's so much setup when it starts and it's kind of drips of mood and you're like, all right, like this could be really cool with this competent script.
Right. The setup was great. The
Yep.
first couple of minutes, I'm sitting there and I'm like, yes, I'm going to like this movie.
Yeah.
I don't know why everyone's
Patrick
talking bad
recommended
about
an
this.
okay one.
Yeah, this is
Despite
really
texting
cool.
me terrible things. Man, our text chains when you're watching a movie.
We should just read our text messages aloud. We should do the show. Let's do the show via text, and then we'll just sit here and read them out
Great.
on camera. That makes for good
I
YouTube.
remember what you said at this time. Perfect for iTunes. So let's get into the critical and box office before we start doing our segments, our fun little sketches. This had a $35 million budget.
Yeah.
Which
Seems
not
light.
bad.
Seems light.
Seems light, but
Yep.
they did everything they could
That's
with
what I'm
it.
saying.
And it made $85.4 million.
It
So that's
did.
a success.
Yep.
Made over double, but still not considered well enough to get a sequel.
No, sure.
And as far as I know, it was all in whether Mark Wahlberg wanted to do it or not. And he was like,
Can you blame him? Like, he was nominated for a Razzie. Like, I think, and he was on to bigger and better things, right? Like, this was kind of like the Mark Wahlberg coming back onto the scene. He'd just done I Heart Huckabees, right? Like, all of a sudden people were like, oh yeah, Mark's back.
Yeah.
And I feel like with that trajectory, why do Max Payne 2? If he hadn't done anything else, I guarantee you.
Oh, yeah, but he didn't have
No, yeah, no.
back.
I think this is one of the situations where if he had a really good time, he probably would have been like, well, I'll at least do it because it was fun.
Yeah.
Right.
And at least he made his money back. This is certified rotten on Rotten Tomatoes with a 16%. IMDb has it as a 5.4. And yet, all of the rotten reviews that I found still had a positive spin on it.
Yeah.
So with a positive, the following is a positive review of Max Payne.
Let's hear it.
From David Hiltbrand of the Philadelphia Inquirer. Max Payne is a junkyard dog of a film that is true to its video game roots, even as it transcends them.
Wow.
That's really nice.
Yeah,
It's a really nice
I
thing
would
to say.
agree.
That is
But
That that he's
praise.
got that on his wall somewhere, just like the
did
nicest
good.
thing ever said. Yeah.
I read it really well. Nigel Floyd from Time Out writes, John Moore directs the hell out of the action, while Jonathan Sella's glistening photography captures the snow and rain that fall on these bloody New York streets.
Captured the hell out of that snow.
the snow.
No, it was he
He
got
shot it
all
so
of the
well,
snow.
you
Yeah,
could
he
tell it
did.
was
all
really
of the
fake.
snow.
But you'd have to be on crack not to guess the surprise finale.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
We weren't looking for
like, what was the drug called? Yeah, you'd have to be on
Valkyr.
Valkyr
Like
to not be able to,
The
like,
fact that
that's...
they first showed
should be writing
Valkyr,
this.
and then they showed the angels, you're instantly like, oh, okay, I got it.
We're there. Yeah.
Like at the
How does-
at the very first time we saw the wing, I was just quietly saying to myself, oh, it's the drug company.
Yeah, how does he not connect that? Like, he's a
Takes
cop.
way too long.
He's a cop.
This is Mark Wahlberg from The Happening. What? No.
I mean, it was crazy.
The drugs?
Like,
No.
everybody's got the same tattoo that the murderers do, but somehow he can't connect those dots.
And he doesn't
I did
forgive
everything.
And he can't forgive his best friend and partner after a couple of years. Just like, I'm sorry, I did everything I could. There's one guy left out there. Like, no, but you're a bad person.
You're
he's being a
useless. I
jerk
didn't see
now,
you solve it,
please.
Max.
You're
You're a cop.
You're in the same boat right now.
I was too busy
and
crying.
you're still trying.
He was too busy grimacing to solve the murder. Or what he calls grimacing.
Trying to grimace. He's been practicing, okay? That's the best he can do.
I don't believe
all
it.
right.
I don't think I've said
Some
it with
very pointed eyebrows.
that much.
I mean-
that's good makeup.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
He's got a very flat brow. I don't know if I've said it throughout this entire show, but so I'll say it now. This film.
This film.
From there, we're gonna go and we're gonna play some of our favorite games.
Yeah, we
we're gonna start with our favorite line. I don't
Where
know
to
if-
even start? There are so many.
I'll start at the beginning.
Would you please do?
I'll start at the
They're
beginning,
clear.
where Max walks into the subway bathroom that's larger than the subway station. So I did not like that. Where it's like little. Those bathrooms aren't that large.
Maybe this one is.
Maybe
Bigger
they're,
than, yeah, it's
Okay.
maybe they are in Canada.
Bigger on the inside.
yeah.
Boo. Oh hell no! What are you, a cop or something? Not tonight.
Badge on. Yeah,
I know.
real good. That has a ton of gems right there. What else does he say in that? So you following me or something? Not you. Him.
Just him.
Real good. Real
Line.
good.
Stacey?
Good line. So I actually have kind of a serious one. Back at the very, very beginning, when I had hope, and it sounded like this could be a really cool movie. Not the very first line, because that one was not great
Sure.
at all. But there's an army of bodies under this river. Criminals, people who ran out of time, out of friends. Next time they drag this river, they'll find me at the bottom with the rest of them. There won't be anyone left to say I was different.
I mean,
See, because that
it's
gives
not-
you the impression that, oh, we're going to go super noir, we're going to have a lot of internal monologuing from this guy, but we don't.
And then nothing.
I know, but like, like even that was a miss. Like, that's not that clever, right? Like, I feel
No.
like your back of the box quote was way better than that, and that made it in a major motion picture. I feel like that should have been like, you know, when Max is like, oh, the street smelled like cigarettes and sadness. You know, like, I mean, like, it should be like interesting and noir. Like, that was just like,
Not Tumblr noir.
no,
But,
yeah.
but it was
thing.
so
No offense,
melodramatic that at least there was something like, okay, well, at least we're going to get really dramatic in a silly way
Yeah.
here.
We're going to go into depression and sadness and all that bit.
Sure.
Something, a little bit.
But then at the beginning, where we get Captain Bowen walking the new guy around,
Yes.
he says the line, remember when you were a kid and you'd hold your breath when you'd run past a graveyard? Just leave that man alone.
It's a mini controller.
Thanks.
It was a lob like with my controller. I'm just like, I don't want
Right.
to play this game anymore.
No.
It was just like,
Xbox, turn off.
yeah.
Yes.
Xbox, dude, which by the way, best gamer tags ever. Have you seen the people that are trolling this? That
Yeah,
their
yeah.
gamer tag is Xbox turn off yes, and like I just got shot by Xbox turn off yes. No, it's the best. It's the best.
I've seen those. This is pretty good.
So good.
Anybody else have any of the winners from this?
Oh, we'll call a winner. This is when Max is looking to go seek vengeance, and Mona says, "You don't want to make it out alive. You think if he puts you out of your misery, you'll be with them again." Max looks her straight in the eyes, dead-eyed. Yeah, well, that's how it works. So good. It's so good.
You say that's good. I tend to disagree.
I mean, right, by that's so
What?
good, I mean, like,
No.
yeah, no.
It's good in a bad way.
I know, like, I laughed out loud. I was like, it was so self-serious. Like, you're waiting for some sort of, like, that pregnant pause. Yeah. That's how it works. What? Go get shot, Max, at this point. I don't care either way. If we could just... I've got Daredevil to watch. Just get shot.
There are
I don't
things
care.
to do.
Do you think Moore yells cut and he goes, Oscar?
Yeah.
That was gold.
That's going to be on the
Razzie.
wall somewhere. Yeah.
Somebody's going to have that on their wall as a quote under the movie poster.
Yes,
and I'm going
that's
to feel
how it
good about
works.
myself. Do you have any,
Made $1
do you have
billion.
any others, Stacey?
No, that was the one. I mean, that was a close second.
I like
though.
the hero.
But-
Go ahead.
No, that was my second
That
one.
was your second one?
That was it.
I like the hero qualifier that we got from the random drug lord near the end of the movie, where Mona walks in and is like, "Hey, I need to know about this guy." As he is credited, Lincoln Denoof, who is the drug lord. The devil is building his army. Max Payne, he's been hunting. 3 years of kicking down doors. He is looking for something that God wants to stay hidden, and that's what makes him even more dangerous. Mona, stay away from Max Payne. You don't want to be around him when Judgment Day comes.
It's
Doesn't make any
intense.
sense.
It's intense. No, it doesn't.
If you had somebody say
Nothing.
that earlier in the movie, I would have been like, this dude's going to hell, and he's going to be shooting his way down. Love it.
Maybe,
But
not
also,
then.
like, you imagine somebody saying that in real life? Like, could you take somebody seriously at all? Just like, I don't. Like,
You're snickering.
I mean,
just
yeah,
as
that's
you're
an actual
talking.
trope.
you're like, I know. I mean, I suppose you're right, but like
That's Mike Banning from
that's like
Olympus Has Fallen.
Yeah, this is that face-off line. No more drugs for that man. Like, I just no.
No, I'm just thinking of Nick Cage's face. Too good.
Face.
All right, from there, let's go to one of our favorite segments, which is recasting
Oh,
the movie
hell
with
yeah.
modern actors. So it's 2016.
It is.
We find out
We're in
that
charge.
Max Payne is going to get rebooted, and these are the folks that we want to play these roles. So we're going to be recasting Max, Mona, BB, Jack Lupino, and Jim Bravura.
We are.
And it's...
Where do you want to start? Where do you want to start? Where do you want to start?
Let's start with our boy Luda, with Jim Bravura,
Okay.
Bravura, because we never hear his last name spoken.
No, we don't. It's just on the door. Every
yeah.
other scene. Like,
What,
they're gonna remind me what his last name is.
What has everybody
You
got?
never know.
Go ahead, Stacey. What do you got?
Well, I've been watching Daredevil all weekend.
Okay.
So, Royce Johnson, cop in Daredevil.
Oh yeah,
Oh
Brett.
yeah, I can get behind that.
I like him. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not bad.
Cop to cop
That's
role.
not
It's a little
bad.
bit of typecasting.
You know.
I'm gonna go with Michael B. Jordan.
That's who I thought everybody was going to
That
pick.
man, he's just impossibly talented, and you can't not like him. And he brings that, like, he's got unbelievable comedic timing, which Luda kind of does. You remember that line when, like, he's like, "Do you want to report something?" Hell yeah, dude! There's like gunfire
like
going.
machine guns in the middle of New York City.
I think he would kill that, but also bring a little bit of like swagger to the role, especially like
Okay.
also a little bit tougher than Luda. Like
A little bit more presence.
totally more
Instead of
presence.
just he's there.
And also, like, I feel like the internal affairs guys have to be like bulldogs, right? Like, you have to be able to like stand up for yourself. And Luda's kind of a little guy. He's, a big personality, but like, Michael B. Jordan would be a bit of an enforcer in that role.
I like
Did you
it.
have somebody else?
I did. Kind of going across the same category as Ludacris.
Okay.
A guy who just started acting How to Make It in America, Kid Cudi.
Okay.
Kid Cudi's great on that
Is he
show.
really?
And he just because he kind of has a similar background, but I think he would kick ass in that.
All right.
Yeah.
That's not bad. I can get behind that.
Did
Yeah.
you have another one, or
No,
was
that
it
was-
okay? That was just Brett. What was yours then?
That was for
That's
for
just Michael
Luda.
B.
It's just
Jordan?
the only one I got. Like,
That-
everybody else, I'll give you guys. You can choose between. I'm vetting casting by you, but that was the one that was for me. Was Leo.
Michael B. Jordan, his current look is essentially what Luda's look in the movie
Yeah.
was. So you just go, oh yeah, just put him in a suit and that's that.
Totally.
And he's got the chops behind it. Let's go to Jack Lupino, our supposed to be our big bad of the film, but cut short.
I mean,
Real, supposed
kinda.
to be. Well, I mean that's what they were alluding to. He was around all the murders. He was hacking people up. Like that was the thing is they were building up to that twist. So who is a guy that can shoulder all of that responsibility?
Any person in a Gatorade commercial, like when they show that
they're
glowing monster
covered.
sust, just cast Gatorade. People.
And light blue is the
Blue.
best.
So I agree. Who do you have? Can I ask you?
Javier Bardem. Because he could bring people
The
go, holy
straight,
crap,
scary.
Javier Bardem, and he just got
Holy-
shot. What the hell?
And just keeps going.
no.
Oh,
It's like, and then you waste Javier Bardem.
like
But
that.
yeah, how about you, Stacey?
Joel Kinnaman.
What is he in?
He's
Yeah.
coming up in Suicide Squad.
Yes.
Oh,
RoboCop,
yeah. I know who he is.
I like him.
All right, not bad. I got two. So I went with like super soldiery kind of. So like I don't know if you guys are familiar. He's not an actor, but I'm gonna go ahead and go with that Houston Texans J.J. Watt.
Do not know sports here.
No, just know the
This is
sports
video game
ball-
movie anatomy.
Big linebacker guy, J.J. Watt.
this is
He does
sport
the
movie anatomy.
He does the Campbell soup commercials. Eats the shit out of that Campbell soup. I'll stick with real actors. I'll go Vin Diesel maybe.
Actually, on
Considered.
Okay.
For some reason, this wasn't my first choice, despite being of a wrestling brain. Dave Bautista,
Oh, totally.
who was just
oh,
Inspector.
Yes, yep.
Big
yep.
muscle-bound
Yeah,
dude covered
for
in
sure.
tattoos.
Guardians guy?
Guardians.
Yep, yep.
Drax the Destroyer.
Okay, got
for those
it.
of you who didn't.
Oh, he'd be great.
For most of
That'd
you
be
who didn't
fun.
see Spectre, the guy in Guardians, the movie that everybody
He'd
saw.
be great. I get behind that.
I'm really interested to hear what you guys have for BB.
Ooh.
No?
No, I
Not
said
that
ooh.
interesting?
No, I'm so like very much so.
I like mine.
Who do
you got? Who you got?
Let's
So,
see.
like with Beau Bridges, it's a guy that you're not supposed to expect any
Sure.
real hardness out of to be the bad guy. So I went with John Goodman for one.
Oh, see, he can flip a switch.
That's the thing is he can go like right. He could bring the seriousnly that Beau didn't really have.
Oh, that's
near the
really
end.
good.
And also just 'cause I forgot what the show was called, but Kelsey Grammer. As well as somebody that everybody goes, oh, that's
Just
Frasier.
don't-
But he can turn and give that dramatic performance. I forgot what the show was called, but it took place in Chicago.
Sideshow Bob.
Well,
Yeah,
sure,
yeah, I mean,
but
he's dark.
I think everybody liked John Goodman a little bit better, so I'm just gonna erase Kelsey Grammer. But what do you guys have?
I think John Goodman might be the winner. I don't even want to get. What do you
Yeah,
got? What do you
that
got?
was-
That's
What do you
real
guys have?
good. What do you got?
Well, one of mine was Jeff Bridges.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
I mean his older brother.
Yeah.
No. Well, yeah.
Sorry, Beau, you're not good enough to be recasted.
You're JB now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Bud?
Okay, so I got John Travolta, like Broken Arrow Travolta.
But then you're getting similar performance, or not similar performance, but Punisher. You're getting like head of a thing that's the target of revenge, and I think people will go, "Oh, this is him in Punisher." But I do like
Okay.
it. But I do like it.
Yeah, spaced on the Punisher thing.
Most
I just like
people
John
did.
Travolta. I think because he's so, again, he's tough, and like that whole, like I think that Face Off where he goes just fucking psycho, right? Like that's what I was looking for.
That
out of
Travolta,
that.
totally.
Yep.
Mona, who do we got?
Okay, I'll go first because I'm not a fan of mine. I'm 50-50 on this. I think this woman just needs more work, but she's just an ass kicker. I'd really like to see Penelope Cruz.
That'd be cool.
Yeah,
her on there,
I
too.
think
She's
she's
on mine.
awesome. She's
Interesting.
incredibly
She is.
talented. She just fits, vaguely ethnic, caster and.
She's ethnic.
I mean, yeah, no, I mean, but like,
There's that going for, I guess.
I like
Yes.
Penelope Cruz.
she-
I'm a fan of hers, and I don't think she gets enough work. Get some charity.
Stacey, who's your second since you stole one?
So another one, Chloe Bennett.
I
One of my
like
choices.
yes.
Okay.
Because-
Going along the TV line. Sorry, we're getting the wrap up thing soon, so we got to speed through some of them. Amelia Clark,
From?
Game of Thrones,
Thrones.
Oh, yes.
Queen of
Yes,
Dragons.
yes.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Alexandra Daddario from San Andreas,
Yep.
that upcoming in Baywatch, because
Yep.
both of them have these eyes that just pierce through the entire screen and just
Sure.
make you take them beyond seriously. And I think. Mila Kunis has the same quality, so I went off of that. Who was your second before we get to Max?
I just had Penelope.
Just
there, too.
Penelope
Yeah,
Cruz?
yeah,
All
yeah.
right, so let's get through Max real quick. Stacey, why don't you start us?
I feel bad about this one, and then I don't because Tom Hardy would.
Yeah, I was
I'll
thinking
cross
Tom
that
Hardy
off
first.
my list.
He
Tom Hardy.
would-
I want him in everything.
He would-
I love
he
that
would
guy.
Hey, at least we didn't
that
say
role.
Oscar Isaacs. At least
Yeah,
I
I know,
almost
well,
did for Jack Lupino. But
I was gonna say it just to mess with you guys.
For everything, just
Our
across the
participant
board.
award.
Hardy's one of mine. Yeah.
Who's another one you got?
And again, like I'm going down this road. Like I was a huge John Barenthal fan from Punisher,
Oh.
Yes.
Shane from Walking
Love
Dead.
it.
The guy's got so much presence, and he would be an amazing Pain and bring a little bit of range to that. That's one of the reasons I liked Hardy a little bit because I know we talked about him being a little two-dimensional, but both of those guys can go from just a decent human being to just crushed and out for some vengeance. So
Interesting.
Yeah.
No, I like that. Just ever since I was playing the game, and I would always look at the box art. I always thought if they made a Max Payne movie, they would cast Johnny Knoxville because he looks just like him. And that's a guy who,
Yes.
while he does do a lot of, or mostly comedic roles,
Yep.
I think it would be fun to give him that role because drama is easy, comedy is hard, quote unquote. And I think that would be fun.
Super fun fact, his face is actually originally modeled after Sam Lake, who's the creative director at Remedy.
Oh.
So Sam Lake rhymes with Quantum Break, rhymes with Alan Wake. Like, it's that guy, right? Like, he's making, I'm not making this up, this is like very intentional, but the original face is modeled after
Interesting.
him. Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, I still like Johnny Knoxville. Also,
I do too.
And my other one that I had, my quote unquote serious one, was James McAvoy because he's a little bit smaller, but he can also, he brings the seriousness, and he also
It's very good.
does random silly dramatic movies.
Very
like
good.
he did I, Frankenstein. He's
Also-
like, yeah, I'll do Max Payne.
Also Wanted, he
Yeah.
can shoot the hell out of a
And
gun.
Wanted.
He
totally.
can shoot a gun.
So he's got
Yeah.
a little bit of that background. All right,
Oh man, this movie would have been so much better if it was like Wanted.
really quick,
Yes.
final thoughts. on Max Payne.
It had a lot of potential. It was utterly wasted. And while I didn't hate it because I thought that it had the palette going for it, it had some mood. Don't watch this movie. Don't.
Stacey.
Agreed. Yeah, it was so disjointed throughout, and I think it focused so hard. I mean, the whole fact that there was a contest to create the Valkyrie scenes like that, they got so sidetracked by these things that they kind of forgot about the plot and character motivation.
Yeah, if they did a little bit more work on the script, we probably could have gotten a passable movie.
Yeah.
Definitely not the worst one we've ever watched on the show.
I would agree with that.
But if I would put this on a list of bad movies that you get together and watch with your friends, maybe with a little bit of Valkyries involved.
I could see. Oh yeah.
Some foreign substances.
Say no more.
You
Say
want to
no
watch
more.
this movie? Check it out. It'll freak you out. But our last thing that we do is a game over or an extra life for this franchise. Do we want to see another Max Payne movie, Patrick?
Let's say put a bullet in it. It's bullet time, slow-mo death. I think this franchise needs to die. Move on. Listen, play Quantum Break. Remedy's never made a bad game, so if you're looking for this next experience, I'd say play that one. It's got a 6-episode, 22-minute arc. It's coming out this year. I'm plugging this.
Couple weeks.
Yeah, it's coming out in a couple weeks. Play Quantum Break if you're dying for some more.
But game over to Max
Remedy.
Payne.
Game over to Max Payne.
Stacey?
For this, if they're going to keep going like that, game over. It was not.
I
more.
agree. It's really hard to make a standalone movie for something like this when we have Netflix or independence series like Machinima.
Yep.
So I don't want another Max Payne game. I would love a noir style Max Payne series. But I will say, game over. That's it. Max Payne is done.
It's outta here.
We have
Bye.
made it so. So before we sign off, I just want to let everybody know. Next week we're going to be doing what I like to. We're putting in a cheat code.
Yeah, we
and
are.
we're doing something that's not based on a video game, but something that is in fact a video game movie. We're going to be covering Scott Pilgrim versus the World. So that's 2 weeks.
Yes.
April 4th. Make sure to watch the movie, even though you've probably already watched it. Play the side-scrolling action beat 'em up. But until then, where can everybody find you?
You can find me at Pete of the Dees on Twitter. You can find me on iTunes. I host a video game podcast called Pixel by Pixel, and I'll be playing Quantum Break in a few days.
Find me on Twitter at YeOldNerd, or also on Twitter and across the web at Nerds Doing Stuff.
You can find me on Twitter at Mark B. Donica. You can follow us at The Popcorn Talk on Twitter. Make sure to check out Jedi Alliance, which is another show I do here. We just started with a new co-host. If you love Star Wars, join us. It's a celebration of the greatest saga ever told. But until then, we will see you at the arcade.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.